What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the new Dinosaur games that are going to be coming out soon. This is a list that I've gathered from what I personally consider to be the most interesting dinosaur games based off of what similarities they share to both Jurassic Park, as well as the old school dinosaur classics that both I and most people around the world have loved for years. Games like Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Dino Crisis, all that kind of stuff. That's what I picked these games from. And speaking of Jurassic Park, of course, before I even begin, I want to give a very honorable mention to Jurassic Park Operations, which is actually a fan game currently in development for Dreams on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles respectively. That is what I think a lot of people are going to be interested in as soon as it drops, but as for everything else... Dino Trauma is going to round off the list at the very top. Now, this introduces us to a secret laboratory somewhere in the Eastern European region where gore and dinosaurs isn't an unusual thing. It's supposed to be a retro first-person shooter inspired by the 1990s legends, and the best way I can describe it is something like a cross between Dino Crisis and, well, yeah, Turok maybe. It's probably a little slower paced. It could even be something like Quake on slow mode, but the dinosaur designs and environments are clearly based off of all those games that a lot of people, grew up on, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they dish out. The next game on this list is called The Lost Wild, an immersive and cinematic dinosaur game that captures the reverence and terror of nature's most magnificent beasts. Come face to face with dinosaurs that behave like wild animals, not monsters. Explore a prehistoric wilderness where you're squarely in the center of the food chain. Keep your head down, stay alert, and evade. If all else fails, run or try to intimidate using non-lethal weaponry. It's going to result in intense cat and mouse style gameplay, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. I'm just reading off the synopses of what these games are supposed to be, by the way. So we're apparently stranded in a violent primal world with survival depending on mastering the rhythms and anticipating dangers from such a place. It looks like Resident Evil 7 meets a Jurassic World style thing, and it's supposed to have some sort of mysterious voice on a radio that seems to offer a glimmer of hope for us to survive. With their help, we may make our way through the facilities and piece together the story and how all this came to be. The Lost Wild is actually one of my most anticipated games on this list, and it looks really, really cool in my opinion. Next up, we have a game that we've already talked about before in the past, a very long time ago actually, that's still being developed and worked on, called Death Ground. Now, this is a solo and co-op survival horror game that throws players into a desperate battle for survival against deadly AI dinosaurs. It features squad-based intense gameplay with unpredictable animals, special character classes, terrifying, realistic, and diverse environments. Now, in my opinion, this is probably going to be a really cool game. Back when they first unveiled it, it was described as Alien Isolation meets Jurassic Park, and that's kind of what I get a vibe for right here. A lot of people love to say they're inspired by Dino Crisis, and I'm sure these guys were too, but everybody says that, which leads me to our next game on the list. It's 1996, and the sky over New Manitoba City is choked with pollution. An anonymous whistleblower contacted OSHA claiming that chronogas had violated the federal laws banning the use of time travel. A health and safety enforcer was dispatched to investigate the claims, but found the situation was more urgent than anyone could have predicted. He's forced to act decisively. We take on the role of the enforcer as he cuts a path through a hostile world and sets right something that should have never happened. Now, this game is stylistically, graphically, and atmospherically Dino Crisis for all intents and purposes. It doesn't have that old school survival horror's fixed camera angle point of view, and actually what it reminds me of the most besides Dino Crisis is Alien Resurrection for the PlayStation 1. Again, I've talked about this game before in the past, but I have to also say, just like The Lost Wild, this is one of my most anticipated games on the list, and it looks to me like it's going to be extremely interesting and just right up my alley. I love the fact that we've got a Spaz 12 looking shotgun, little raptors that are similar to like a Jurassic Park 3 aesthetic, and I don't know, man, there's just something about this one that's really, really piquing my interest. Of course, we haven't seen anything gigantically crazy like a Spinosaurus or T.rex just yet, at least not that I know of, but as far as I'm concerned, Compound Fracture is one to really pay attention to, especially if you're an old school Jurassic Park fan. Next up is a game called Project Ferocious, a survival shooter in which you will discover a lost prehistoric world full of deadly creatures under the control of hostile forces. Fight, explore, and survive. Tales from sea monsters and missing sailors surround a thick, mysterious fog on the Pacific Ocean. The distress call from a group of missing investigative journalists leads you right into the middle of it, where you find a tropical island where no island should be. Hostile forces want to keep the island a secret at all costs, and to uncover the truth and find your friends, you will have to not only survive them, but also the fierce inhabitants of this lost world. Now, straight up guys, this looks like Peter Jackson's King Kong video game from 2005 meets, I don't know, Tomb Raider, the rebooted Tomb Raider from 2013 or whenever that came out. It looks pretty cool to me, but honestly, after going over a lot of the gameplay footage, it's mainly people versus people instead of people versus dinosaurs and creatures. That's not to say that it's not interesting. You know, a lot of Turok Dinosaur Hunter was like that, but I really would have liked to see more of those dinosaurian creature models. Anyways, it looks pretty intense and really fun, so this is one that if you're interested in more of a shooter rather than a dinosaur game, definitely keep this one on your list. Next up, we've got Ark 2. So not too much to say about this one other than the fact that it's literally the sequel to Ark Survival Evolved, only this time starring Vin Diesel, believe it or not. I'm excited to see where this one goes because I've played a ton of Ark before in the past, but we're going to just have to wait and see. Not too much is really out on it. They do have a cool looking Carnotaurus, but yeah guys, that's just all I really want to talk about as far as that's concerned.
He's going to find us. There's my hideout. Do as I do, and you
Okay, so this is one that I'm really interested in because Dangerville, Swerve, and a few others on YouTube have talked about it before in the past, and I'm not gonna lie, it's got a pretty kick-ass trailer. Goner is described as an epic horror adventure starring Anthony Sunder, a son looking for his missing mother and her expedition crew. His search will lead him to the location of a ghost island inhabited by hostile members of a lost civilization and feral fauna you thought went extinct. There's going to be dinosaurs, but no guns. Face these massive creatures and try not to get caught. This time, you're not a heavy armed hero, just a regular dude. Of course, you'll be able to defend yourself with anything you can craft with your own two hands, and this is where the true horror resides. They can see, hear, and smell you. Often running and hiding is going to be our best chance at survival. So yeah, Goner was one that I initially wasn't too interested in, if I'm being honest, but after going through the trailer and looking over how people are reacting to it, it's pretty interesting, man. At the very least, it'll be entertaining and scary and a few jump scare scenes. But yeah, Goner is one that is pretty cool. The next game is called Dinos Reborn. This is an immersive survival adventure where we are stranded on a mysterious planet inhabited by dinosaurs. You must develop hunting and tracking skills to outsmart them. Explore, build, craft, hunt, or hide while trying to survive witnessing a unique science fiction story about struggle in the process. Now, a lot of the dinosaur designs in this game look very Jurassic Park inspired to me. In fact, I think the best way to describe Dinos Reborn, which is a game that I honestly didn't know much about either, is it's kind of like take the Lost World and mix it with Ark Survival Evolved, especially in these little scenes where they show the dinosaur models. And personally, I think it looks pretty cool. I'm not so sure how the gameplay is going to be in the final cut. I do love the little Wilson reference in the trailer. And yeah, I think it's pretty interesting looking. A lot of these games have similar styles and aesthetics when it comes to surviving in a dense jungle or forest, and you know, just the same sort of story of trying to uncover some sort of mysterious in the past. But this one is a lot like that new movie coming out called 65 as far as the story goes. So yeah, survive to experience an amazing adventure, discover great mysteries, and find out who you really are, a hunter or the prey.
Just gotta keep going this way. Get out of the long grass as fast as possible.
Next up is a game called Primal Dominion. So this is a single and multiplayer action-adventure game set in the 90s and onward. It features a fully fledged single-player or co-op campaign and player versus player or player versus environment game modes. I don't know much about this at all, but it was being promoted a lot about a year ago, and it hasn't come out completely just yet, but I do know that Swerve and the Gaming Beaver have actually played demos of it. Swerve really liked the game, so if you're interested in a lot of the kind of games that he's into, to, although this is very different than the average park builder that he loves. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, dude. I do like the Raptor designs in it, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go. But again, I don't know much about it personally. I just know that it's one that's on everybody's radar, and it's Jurassic Parkian in style too, so definitely keep it on your radar.
What would you have done?
And finally, what we probably have is one of the most anticipated games ever as far as dinosaur fans are concerned right now, and that is Instinction. This is an upcoming action-adventure game inspired by Dino Crisis that will be coming out for PS4, PS5, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and S. It has a single-player and co-op mode for up to 3 players in an open-world setting. The game features 25 prehistoric creatures, various weapons, and even puzzle solving. It was going to come out sooner, but they totally rehauled their Raptors. I actually know a couple of people that are connected to this one. It got pushed back to 2025, but it has people that have come on it that have actually worked on Prehistoric Planet. Instinction looks cool, and it's something I'm interested to see like how it's going to turn out. I will say the one thing about this game is they've chosen to like put lips on the dinosaurs, and this Carnotaurus, it makes me think that it's much more of like a bearded dragon or reptile than an avian creature, which is interesting because, you know, you just wouldn't expect that to be the case with newer science being related to like dinosaur design in general. It's pretty cool. Anyways, guys, there you have it. These are what I consider to be the most anticipated dinosaur games for 2023 and beyond. Some of which will obviously not have an official launch until later on, but the games on this list will more than likely get new information, playable demos, and or early access sooner rather than later. Not for all of them, but you get the gist of this stuff. So yeah, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions on these dinosaur games. Now, what do all of you think? Which games are you looking forward to the most for 2023? And would you like to see more official Jurassic World games go in a similar direction to what's on this list? You know I would, but hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens and InGen executives, as well as all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. You've all helped my channel immensely, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of that support. Now I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you all consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.